Social research found that more than 60% of Brexiteers consider themselves to be strongly British, compared with about 30% of Remainers. And similarly, over 50% of Brexiteers agreed that Britain is better than other countries, hardly a shock, which is double the figure for Remainers. So, are Brexit supporters more patriotic? To discuss this, we shamelessly decided to pitch a Brexiteer and a Remainer against each other. You love to see it. I'm joined by Richard Tice, the leader of Reform UK, and Gareth Kearns, who's an EU-supporting protester. I'll start with you, Gareth, because you have come rather on brand straight from a protest, I believe, haven't you? So, are you patriotic about Britain?
Yes.
How?
Well, let's just define it. Patriotism, you'd agree, is about loving your country, wanting the best for your country, being concerned about its security and prosperity. I think we'd all accept that's a baseline, yes?
Yeah, that's probably loosely speaking correct, yes.
Yeah. And that's exactly why I have opposed Brexit, and because it's about the security, prosperity of my country, and also in accordance with the traditions that I've grown up with. I had two grandfathers who served in the Second World War. I want to continue in what they won.
All right, Richard, I'll let you come back to that then. Are Brexiteers actually the true patriots here?
I think you've just come to be, Patrick. Sorry.
Yes.
I think the reality is I want everybody who lives in the United Kingdom to be patriotic, to feel that they are hugely British, and in a sense, that's what we should aspire to. The issue of security and prosperity, in my view, we're much more secure and we will be much more prosperous having left the European Union. I'm very glad, and I was delighted to see the footage you used there. I was on the stage at that very moment. So look, I think it's a huge opportunity. I think this government's been very bad at taking advantage of the opportunity. But look, all of us who live in this great nation, hopefully we're all patriotic. We all want the best for our country, and that's what democracy is about. It's about finding the best and the right solutions. And in my view, the best solution is Brexit.
Okay, all right, Gareth, some of those figures that I wheeled out earlier were saying that more Brexiteers think Britain is basically better than other countries. Where do you think Britain ranks in terms of other countries? Because that's a trope, isn't it, about some Remainers, that they actually think every other foreign country is better than ours, pretty much.
I don't rank countries. That would be a silly thing to do. I mean, let's engage with this like adults.
Well, it's the point, though, isn't it? Do you think Britain's a better place to live than many other places around the world?
I do, but it is because I'm British. This country made me. I fit here. I would always be happier here than I would be anywhere else. I know that.
But you would be all right with us led by foreign leaders?
No.
It's not a bit about what the EU is about?
No. It is a coming together of, a collegiate coming together of nations, and there's an awful lot of compromise between them. But ultimately, if we weren't a sovereign nation, we wouldn't have been able to leave. It's as simple as that. That was the ultimate expression of our sovereignty. We left.
OK, Richard, you've heard what Gareth had to say there. Do you want to just come back to any of that?
No, actually, Gareth is right that those of us who, essentially we live in Britain, we've been brought up in Britain. Of course, most of us would think that Britain is a great country. I think, I'm not sure it's a great question, that, Patrick, because the truth is, whether you live in France or Germany, if you've grown up there, the chances are you think that's the greatest country in the world. And in a sense, that's the definition of patriotism in every nation. And that's wonderful. I'm a great believer in it. I think, we want people to believe in independent sovereign states. And that's a very powerful thing, and I'm hugely supportive of.
Well, that's interesting. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to have this discussion, actually, Richard, because for some people, they would say that one of the definitions of patriotism is being desperate to go it alone and have total control of your own affairs. But that doesn't seem to be what a lot of Remainers wanted, by definition, I suppose. So, Richard, for you, is that a key cornerstone of what it means to be a patriot, to basically be in control of your own destiny, I suppose?
I think it's a belief in your own sovereign state and who you are as a people. But it's the point about a sovereign state is you can decide what you do independently on your own, but you can also decide where you want to work together with other nations in order to achieve a particular goal. The point is, it's your country's choice from your democratically elected leaders. That's the whole point of independent sovereignty, and that's what you lose when you accept the compromises of the European Union.
Gareth?
But no nation is absolutely sovereign, because if you have a whole bunch of sovereign nations together, they all have to compromise, and they all have to have a thing, well, we're going my way now, we're going my way now, and that is not... You do not have absolute sovereignty. The absolute sovereign nation, or at least the nearest thing we have to the absolute sovereign nation on this planet right now, is North Korea. It ignores everyone else. We don't want to be that. Who would want to be that? You have to work together.
But just to come back to that, Gareth, I mean, Britain obviously voted for Brexit, and we have not become North Korea, have we?
Well, we haven't achieved Brexit either.
But you got to concede that no matter, even if the most extreme version of Brexit, Gareth, we would not be led by Kim Jong-un.
Because we would not live up to the maxims that Richard has gone into there. We would not have that degree of sovereignty. We wouldn't have it. It would not be attained.
Right, OK, fair enough, in a sense. Richard, did you think, though, that there was a bit of an outpouring from some of the Remain crowd? I'll put this to you in a second, Gareth, by the way, but about the fact that it went from being, OK, not just the fact that we had left the Brussels bloc, as it were, but I noticed, I certainly detected a lot of people despairing, a lot of people talking this country down, saying, oh, we're going to be Little England now. Basically, by my metric there, saying that they thought we were much better off with some kind of foreign leadership because we couldn't really handle it on our own.
I think there was a fair degree of that, actually, Patrick. But I think it's all about confidence. It's about confidence in one's own country's ability to run one's own affairs. And look, I'm very critical of some of the ways some things are run, but at least, we the people, because ultimately we're sovereign, we lend that sovereignty to our elected officials, and they either do a good job or a bad job of running the country. Gareth's right, you then choose where you want to compromise, but at least it's our choice on what you compromise with other nations. My issue with Brussels was that you didn't have a choice about it. They chose, you had to do it.
Gareth, are you more inclined to fly the EU flag outside your house or the Union flag?
Well, I don't fly any flag outside my house, but when I protest...
Got a Ukrainian one on your chest now.
That is for, you'll agree, particular and special reasons. But when I fly flags, which I do fly flags outside Westminster, I fly 3 flags. Actually, these days, I fly 4, just realised, because you're right, there's the Ukrainian one. There's the Union flag, there's the EU flag, and I'm Welsh, so the dragon.
OK, well, that's interesting, isn't it? That is fascinating. By the way, we haven't got time to get stuck into this, lads, but Wales is a fascinating case study of receiving quite a lot more, I think, of EU funds than other parts of the UK, and then voting the most strongly for independence.
Although you'll be aware of the study that was done by Oxford University that found that the indigenous Welsh, if you like, they voted to remain. It was tipped by all of those English retirees we have taking our cottages. That tipped the balance.
OK, just quickly, Gareth, and then I'll throw it over to you, Richard. Very quickly here, chaps. We've not got long left. Gareth, would you rather see the UK fail now to prove your point that Brexit didn't work? Or would you actually be happy to see us prosper in a post-Brexit Britain?
If you can make it happen, you make it happen.
What would you personally rather? Would you rather be
of course,
right
if I'm a patriot, I would prefer that we prosper. I simply cannot see a model that makes that happen. That's the problem. You present a model that makes that happen, because it ain't looking good right now.
Richard?
You make that happen, that's fine.
All right, that was Gareth Kearns there. Richard, come back to that then, because I think that's a lot of what certain people were thinking anyway, which is that maybe Remainers who lost would rather see Britain burn than it succeed so that they'd be proved right.
Actually, I hope and pray that they don't. We want to prosper. We want to make a huge success of it. The Tories so far have been, frankly, pretty bungling and incompetent at it. But the opportunity is there. It's a huge opportunity. We've got to go for it. And let's see what they say tomorrow. Cutting taxes, cutting daft EU regulation, putting the foot on the accelerator of growth, and we can be awesome, fantastic.
That's a dogmatic and ideologic, that's not got anything to do with how reality works. You do need to pay taxes.
Go on, Richard, final word. Then you've had two final words.
If you cut taxes, you get more growth. It's proven around the world. It's called the Laffer curve. It's basic economics.
All right, chaps, that's enough. I'm going to have to ring a boxing bell here, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And, yeah, good stuff. I enjoyed that a lot, actually. Richard Tice, leader of Reform UK, and Gareth Kearns as well, who's an EU-supporting protester. Well, I think we kind of decided